Our fellow Pinkos and comrades, welcome to Malt Liquor Socialists. I'm your host, Mr. Kiefer, and on this episode, I am joined by a man who has wisely suggested we start to include topics that are potentially less local while news and politics has slowed down in our area. Mr. Morgan.
Yeah, I did think that, because things had kind of slowed down, you were finding it, I don't know if you found it difficult, but it seemed like a slog to try to find local stuff. I figured, hey, during these moments of, not plenty, maybe we could focus on some more state, national stuff. And I thought it would be a good time to maybe break from our usual mold and discuss why some people suck, to discuss more of why people are awesome.
Yeah. I thought that was a brilliant idea, to
Thank
be perfectly
you.
honest. More of a positive.
Yeah.
So we got some video that we're going to be going over.
Okay.
So today we're going to be talking about quite a bit about a mayor in New York.
Yes.
Zohran Mamdani. And actually that sounded racist saying it like that. Zohran Mamdani.
Good
Jesus
God.
Christ.
You are just...
Yeah, no, I need bad accents.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Stop it.
So we're going to be talking about why he is so popular with voters and why he's scaring the establishment Democrats and some of the Republicans, by the way, shitless.
Oh yeah.
So without further ado, let's get into this.
Okay.
So we have some video that we are going to go over.
Okay.
And we'll watch some video, discuss. There'll be some transitions, discuss more.
Okay.
But before we do that, I want to get into why we at least have this opinion. And
I was going to ask you the same thing before we started this. I was going to ask you, what are your personal takes on this?
Well, and a lot of my personal takes, I did go online to double check. It's like, why the fuck is he so popular? Because I'll be perfectly honest, he's not my mayor.
Right.
I wish he was.
Yeah.
The guy is fan-goddamn-tastic. But also the mayor of New York, I think, is a very different position to the mayor of Grants Pass, bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reasons why he's so popular is that, especially among Democrats, a lot of Democrats have fallen into this trap of we need to be centrist.
Yeah.
We need to follow, the centrist line. Look, the right's going far right.
Yeah.
So we're going to go center line, which as the far right goes more far right, the center becomes more right. It's weird.
Yeah.
Mamdani's not that. And here's the thing. Mamdani's not full on fucking communist. He's not.
Absolutely not.
The Republicans are going fascist, so we're going to go communist. He's not that.
No.
Mamdani is very reasonable, liberal or progressive.
Yeah.
Progressive is the better term. Liberal,
Progressive.
Yeah. But he is very reasonable, progressive. He's for shit that's like, okay, look, democratic socialist, which I understand. People who might hear the word democratic socialist might go, socialism, and then, get in the whole thing.
Yes.
Those are also the same people who will hear the word Nazi, the National Socialist Party, and think, well, yeah, they were socialist without understanding how words work. So democratic socialism isn't anti-capitalism.
No.
Democratic socialism is we have capitalism and we have socialism. Stuff is a blend.
Right.
It's economically healthy. We actually have quite a few nations in this world who are democratic socialists. So when somebody says, well, socialism, when has that ever worked? It's like, well, democratic socialism, Norway, Sweden, Finland, all these freaking nations where they have democratic socialism. And then they'll go, well, that's not real socialism. Then why are you calling somebody who's exercising democratic socialism a fucking socialist? Make up your goddamn mind.
Right.
But Mamdani is doing something. He's not just being like a reasonable progressive when a lot of Democrats, especially establishment Democrats, are towing the centrist line. They're doing the status quo.
Yeah.
He's actually putting his foot where his, well, not putting his foot where his mouth is. He's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, okay.
To not fuck up idioms. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's actually been providing what he said he's going to try to provide. He's been doing what he can as the mayor of New York.
Yeah.
And it's been a fucking hoot and a holler. The fact it's like, okay, well, we have this issue. He went through a nurses strike and helped navigate that. They went through that fun little blizzard in New York. And it's like, well, we need to get people out there and shoveling snow. It's like, okay, well, people don't want to. What if we, I don't know, paid them more?
Yeah. Weird.
You know,
weird thought.
Yeah, weird shit that, you know, it turns out that a lot of people who are corporatists and, capitalists will say, well, that wouldn't work. And it's like, turns out it fucking does.
Yeah, weird.
So, yeah, he is getting a lot of, he's very popular because of these kinds of policies. And he's not actually a really rich guy. He's not like this multimillionaire.
No.
Don't get me wrong, he's not poor,
sure,
but he's a healthy upper middle class, or, you know, it's like he's a regular Joe.
Yeah.
And it's not just scaring the establishment Democrats, because he's been endorsing people in New York to run for stuff.
He sure has.
And they've been winning.
They have
in the primaries. So he's not just those scaring the establishment Democrats. He's also kind of scaring the Republicans.
Oh, because kind of scaring, I think, is an understatement.
Yeah, because the thing is, they've been playing this boogeyman game of socialism bad, democratic socialism bad for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And it turns out when it's implemented, and it's implemented in a way where it's like, oh, we have somebody who's not corrupt. They're actually trying to help people.
Yeah.
It fucking works.
Weird. Yeah.
So, yeah. Mr. Morgan, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts as an actual democratic socialist, I agree with a lot of what you said. I am totally on board with Mamdani. I think he's doing a lot of good, and I think he's one of these politicians that doesn't really seem like a politician. He will go out on the streets of New York and have conversations with people.
He's like a human.
He's like a human.
Yeah.
He wants to, it's like, I say sometimes it's, when we go out and we do, protest stuff, it's like, hey, I want to talk to these people. I want to know what they have to say. So I have just more information.
Yeah.
And he seems like a guy that, is kind of like me in that sense, where it's like, no, I don't want to hear your centrist bullshit right now. I want to hear what the people have to say. I want to hear what the person that's working a 9 to 5 wants. Oh, you need more of this? Okay, cool. We're going to get it done.
You know what's really bizarre about that too? We did used to have politicians that would be more like that.
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me remember the name of this politician right now. It was a New York, I believe it was a New York politician, not mayor, but somebody who worked in Congress or whatnot. And this was a man who, for the vast majority of his political career, was actually very beloved by, or at least very much like people liked him. They respected him. And one of the things he would do is he literally lived in fucking New York. So he would, when he was home and not doing congressional shit in Washington, D.C., he would be out amongst the people.
Yeah.
And he would talk with people. It's like he'd go to this regular barbershop, not this very fancy look. I'm a rich person.
Yeah.
He'd go to a regular barbershop. He knew the people there. He would talk to the people there. And so he had this very like feet on the ground approach to this. And his constituents just, they were very appreciative of him.
Right. And Mamdani would ride the subway with everybody else too.
But here's where this gets weird.
Yeah.
His constituents started getting pissed off at him in the 1980s.
Oh, you don't say.
And there's a reason why. See, this charismatic chode who was a B-list actor who became governor of California, then became president.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that he was very full of shit on a lot of stuff, like, oh, we are going to cut taxes. And then they cut taxes. And the economy tanked. Absolutely tanked. And then in order to recover from that, well, you can't raise taxes again because we just said that would work. Hey, let's tax Social Security for the first time ever.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of dumb bullshit.
Yeah.
So Ronald dementia-ridden fuckwit Reagan got in office. And unfortunately, he was very popular because he was very charismatic.
Right.
And a lot of people who were this politician's, not Reagan's, but this New York politician's constituents, well, he was pushing back on Reagan because he was not this I'm going to feed you bullshit kind of guy. He was, okay, but this doesn't actually work. I mean, it sounds fine and dandy, but it's not how things work. This is not going to work. And his constituents started giving him shit. And they started tearing him down. It's like, why the fuck aren't you just doing what Reagan says? He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where he was just, fine, fuck it, I quit.
Yeah.
I can't do this. It's like I've done this for a good part of my life. I've served these people. And at this point, they want the snake oil. I can't convince them otherwise.
Well,
so for me, this is watching the pendulum starting to swing back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
it does kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
But you know, who knows right now. But yeah, I mean, getting back to what you were saying about democratic socialism, you know, my beliefs on that are, you know, look, you can form your own business. You know, yes, you can be successful in that business. You can become a multimillionaire. Like, I don't really care. My thing is that if you do have that money and if you are wealthy, then you should be taxed like you're wealthy. Yeah. Which is not, you know, more than somebody making less than you.
Yeah.
Like, you should be taxed, you know, pretty good. And guess what? You're still going to be fucking rich.
Yeah. You just won't be so obscenely rich.
You won't be so obscenely rich. But who, like, still, if you're making $500 million a year, who the fuck cares? Like, I'm sick of this whole, like, well, I guess you won capitalism, so, you know, we'll give you an award. Yeah. Like, no, these people should be taxed.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that coin, we just did an episode about affordable housing. You know, we should be using those tax dollars that we are getting from the rich and helping people. Am I saying that those people need to, you know, live in the lap of luxury? No. But what I'm saying is they should be provided for. They should be given, you know, food stamps.
Yeah, basic shit. Basic amenities.
They should be given food. They should have a roof over their head. Does it need to be a 3-bedroom? Absolutely not. But at least their basic needs are met. And when you meet people's basic needs, they have time to help themselves. It's just like we saw in that last episode where that city councilor was like, yeah, my daughter went up to Seattle, was in college, got into low income housing. She got a better job, so she paid more, and then she eventually got out of there, and now she's, you know, got a good job and whatnot. It helps people.
No, absolutely.
And that's what I believe democratic socialism should be. We help those that need the help, and those that have the money, you know, yes, we're going to tax you. But guess what? I'm not taxing. I mean, sometimes in my heart of hearts, I really want to be like, fucking tax these motherfuckers into oblivion. Yeah. But those are people like Elon, you know, that have a fucking $1 trillion.
But yeah, no, the South African Nazi.
Yeah. You know, but But if we're just talking about, let's say we're talking about the guy that has, that's making 10 million a year. Okay, great. I guess you won capitalism too, whatever. But I just want you to pay your fair share.
Yeah.
I want you to help, provide for this country that you've made it in.
Yeah. No.
And that doesn't mean that I'm going, that doesn't mean that you're going to need affordable housing because I'm taxing you so goddamn much. It's just, we are spoon-fed this idea, and I've said it constantly, that we are the richest, the best country in the world. Okay? So if that is true, if we truly are the best country in the world, then everybody should have a piece of that pie.
Yeah. No, everybody should have their basic needs met.
Everybody should have their basic needs met. Even if it's just a sliver of that pie. You get a house, you get a roof, you get food, what you do after that is, up to you, but at least we will give you the benefit of the doubt, let's say. Mm-hmm. Here you go. Here's your basic amenities. What you do with your life now is up to you. And that's what I believe democratic socialism should be.
No, I very much agree.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, that a lot of people do not understand about taxes.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are, how do I phrase this? Fucking idiots. Uh-huh. They will think, okay, well, if I make $10 million a year, because let's say I have a business. Okay. It's not that I won the lottery. Uh-huh. Let's say I have a business and I make $10 million a year. Mm-hmm. What's taxed is not what's going back into your business. Mm-hmm. What's taxed is what you receive as a profit. That $10 million is the profit after you have paid all your workers, done the repairs, all that shit. $10 million. We're not talking about reinvesting that money into your company to build more shit. We're talking about, this is my money to spend as I please. It does not in any way, shape, or form have to go to my fucking company. Uh-huh. That's the money that's taxed.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, okay, well, I make $10 million a year. So if you tax me $4 million a year, I'm not going to have enough money to expand my company. Bullshit, my asshole. You've already paid into that company. If you were going to have that be an issue, you would have taken that $4 million that you're being taxed and invested it into your company. Yeah. Do you know what companies did to avoid taxes in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Tell me.
They would literally take that money and go, okay, well, if I'm going to get this as a profit, I'm going to get taxed on it. Mm-hmm. But if I take that money that would be taxed and just reinvest it in my company to expand it, I get a fucking write-off. Uh-huh. And you know what they don't really do anymore?
That.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if somebody's sitting here listening to this and going, okay, but taxes are bad, fuck off.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Do we want to get into some of these videos about
We
Mamdani?
do. Let's do it.
All right. Let's get into this shit.
You're hearing some not just dismissive, though. There's resentment. And this is from fellow Democrats who think that this could jeopardize Democratic chances in the fall. I mean, you got Josh Gottheimer, a Democratic member of Congress, says, many of us believe, as do I, if you're a socialist, you are not a Democrat. And in fact, they put out a manifesto today. I don't know, have you seen this thing?
Sounds pretty socialist to me.
It's not a communist manifesto. It's a moderate manifesto saying, we are capitalist, not socialist. We believe in a growing, fair, and competitive economy, entrepreneurship, ownership. I mean, this is a direct response. They've made it clear to what you did here on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, that's great, but what's a party if not its voters? And I'm proud to sit in front of you as the mayor of our city, having received more than 1 million votes, a little less than a year ago. And when we're talking about these incredible congressional candidates, they won their races, and they won their races with a vision of what politics should be, and one that actually speaks to working people. And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But in terms of what it means over these last 7 months, we've seen a city with democratic socialist principles at the heart of it within our administration. And what we've delivered has been record lows when it comes to murders and shootings.
So is it pragmatic democratic socialism?
I think democratic socialism at the heart is pragmatic, because if we cannot deliver for working people, then what is this for? I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or, frankly, in reading one. I'm interested in delivering, and that's exactly what we've been showing.
But
Yeah. So now that one was a clip that I picked up immediately, and we will actually, a bit later in this video see the whole interview for that.
Okay.
But I wanted to start off with that because that is really just cuts right to the quick of it.
Yes. And, you know, those Democrats that say, well, I'm a capitalist, you can get fucked for all I care. Because what that tells me is you're part of the establishment. You basically kowtow to the Republicans in office.
Well, and to the corporate
Yeah. To the corporate lobbyists and all that. Yeah.
That word, lobbyists.
Yeah. You know, you vote for the money. That's what you want. But guess what? Guess what you and I don't fucking have? The fucking money.
Yeah.
So all we want is, like I said, I just want a slice of that pie. Okay? That's all I want. Do I want to be rich? No, not really. I just want to live a life where I'm comfortable, at least.
Yeah, no, it's most people do not have these grand dreams of, okay, look, my life goal is to win the lottery. Because a couple things. First, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Second, a lot of people, even if they win the lottery, they're going to have these ideas of, all right, look, I'm going to keep some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't spend all that.
Yeah.
So what the fuck am I going to do with the rest of it? I think you've had a lot of this institutionalized or societally acceptable greed, because you do get people who win the lottery and they either keep it or like all of it, or you'll get people who are not economically savvy enough to maintain that much money. They'll blow it all in like 2 years. Like, I won tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in 2 years, broke again.
Yeah.
But then you do end up also having people who they will win the lottery, like the big fucking Powerball. And they'll keep like 10, 20 million of it. And then the rest of it's like, and I'm going to reinvest this in my community in ways that I want. They're giving it out to better their area. I think that's honestly a lot of what people would want to do if they got that much.
That's what I think people should do. And as a democratic socialist, when we talk about taxes, it's not just me just wanting to go after the rich, because in reality, like, okay, fuck off. Like, you have millions of dollars. I don't fucking care. The problem is that a lot of people don't want to share.
Yeah.
They're greedy because, as you said, there is a society-driven greed. And they think that, well, it's mine now, so I'm going to keep it. And yes, there are outliers that do share, and good for them. Great. But we need these taxes for the rich, because we have seen over the last 40 all my fucking life what happens when we don't tax the rich. Yep. They just get richer, and they get richer, and the poor suffer. We start seeing that, oh, you mean there's fucking robots and AI now? I don't have to pay people? Okay, cool. Fuck it. And then they get more. Then it's like
a parasite.
It's like a parasite that just keeps getting richer and richer and richer while everybody else gets poorer.
Yeah.
And so the solution is, okay, we're going to tax these people. We're going to give these poor people that are on the street, unfortunately, room and board. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're just going to do it. Okay? We're going to make this shining city on the hill what it should be. And that's why I get so pissed off at the mainstream Dems, because they're scared of us.
Oh, very much.
You should not be fucking scared of us. If you're scared of us, you're on the opposite side of the aisle. Sorry. So listen to what the people are saying, okay? And maybe we won't fucking go after you in the primaries.
Yeah. So, all right, the next video here is more of a celebratory. It's a collage of sorts.
Okay.
This has to do with the people that Mamdani endorsed. And guess what?
They won.
Yeah, they very much did.
Yeah.
Yeah. First and foremost, This is your victory. What you all have shown this evening, whether for state assembly, state senate, or Congress, is that a year ago, it was not the end of a political movement. It was the beginning.
That number 26. Feel that they're not getting medical services. We feel that they're overcrowded and they're denying.
Fascism is on the rise. Trump is in office. And the odds, as always, are stacked against us. I see our future. I see a New York that we can all afford. I see a New York that truly invests in its babies, not bombs.
It's a good one.
It is such a beautiful future.
Congressional candidate Brad Lander is running for neighbors.
It's work today, immigration folks are treated like criminals, even though they have
Yep.
here.
Let's hear it for a politics. For a politics that will never forget working people. For a politics that is ready to write a new chapter in our party's history. And for a politics that realizes the old politics that got us to this crisis is not the politics that's going to get us out of this crisis.
Yep.
It's time for working people to be back at the heart of our politics. These are the champions who will do it.
Well, not just that.
Yeah.
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 Well, and I think the whole Israel thing is something we can get into as well.
Yeah.
It's like these mainstream Dems are taking money from lobbyists who, are in an active genocide. Let's just fucking say it what it is.
Oh, yes.
They carpet bombed fucking Gaza.
They did.
Okay? They killed people who had no skin in the game.
No, well, they did kill people who had no skin in the game, but that's a relative thing.
Okay.
So they killed people who had skin in the game, but not skin in
Sure.
the war.
Right.
Because Gaza is part of Palestine. They have been trying to gain either independence or equality with Israel for decades.
Right.
So there's skin in the game. Now, that said, you have civilians, children.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's like...
They went in there and they absolutely just carpet bombed.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah, decimated the place.
They decimated the place. If they just wanted to go after the fucking terrorists, okay, good. Hooray for you. There's ways to do that. What they did, sorry to say it, sorry if it pisses people off, that was a fucking genocide.
Oh, it was.
Okay? And for them to then just go into Lebanon as they are and everything and just fucking bombing villages, I see that as an expansion of the genocide.
It is. This is where this gets, because what they're doing is they're trying to go after areas where Hamas might be.
Sure.
But they're not strictly targeting Hamas.
Right.
So, and that's the issue here. If Israel was just saying, okay, we're going to go after Hamas, we're going to target Hamas. And look, it's hard because Hamas blends in with the locals. They do all this shit, but we're going to make an effort to just target Hamas.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes.
They're not. They are not doing that.
No.
They are, as you mentioned, they are carpet bombing. And here's where it gets nuts. There have been articles with evidence about Israeli snipers. They're not taking out Hamas.
No.
They're doing target practice on children.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they, literally, you have doctors who have gone over there and come back and reported on these where it's like, yeah, no, we have children in here. And it is disproportionate. They are targeting children between these certain ages, and they're using them for target practice. Like, oddly enough, today, we have a lot of shots around the groin region for little boys. They're doing it as a sick fucking game.
Yes.
And this is absolutely horrible.
And, you know, before people say, oh, well, you're being anti-Semitic, let me just tell you this. There's being anti-Semitic a bit against a population, say the Jewish population, but then there's the government of Israel. Being against the government of Israel is not the same as being against a population of Jewish people.
Being against the government of Israel is not anti-Semitic.
Nope.
And the government of Israel really tries to capitalize
They
on that.
really try to hammer that.
Yeah, no, it's like, look, all Jewish people are Israelites. No, they're not. Well, we think they are. No, they're not.
Yeah.
The Jewish people are a faith and they're an ethnic population. And look, that's fine. You have a lot of Jewish people who are fucking furious with Israel right now. You have literal Israeli humanitarian organizations who have come out and said, yeah, no, what our government's doing is a fucking genocide.
Yeah.
This is like, we're not supporting this. This is a genocide. There's no joke about it. So the whole idea of Israel's not committing genocide, bullshit. You're a brainwashed asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. There, you know, this reminds me, there was an episode of, it was his other show. It wasn't No Reservations, or maybe it was, but Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, he did an episode and he went to Israel and he went to Gaza. And I remember part of this episode vividly because he went to Gaza and yes, there was, you know, anti-Jewish graffiti there. And he was like, yeah, you know, that sucks and everything and whatnot, you know. But then he goes to a Jewish settlement and he finds anti-Arab graffiti. And so he asks them, he's like, hey, so, you know, you guys are, you know, they're coming against you, but, you know, I just read this horrible graffiti on your street. What do you have to say about that? Fucking crickets.
Oh yeah, no, they're like, yeah, no, it's fine. It's, look, if we didn't like it, we'd paint over it.
And he tried hammering on it, and they were just like, no. And again, I'm sure it's not everybody. I don't want to lump everybody into it, but it's like there's a lot of people over there that don't view the Palestinians as a worthy people.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is I think you have two factions with it. You have the government, again, of the Israeli government, and the government is not the people.
Yeah.
But then you do have certain sections of the people who are very much like, no, I want the government to do this. Now, they, I don't think, are even a majority. They're a good chunk of it, but they're not the majority over there. The Israeli people are getting pissed off at this bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's very weird, too, because... two things before just pertaining to this, and then we'll hop back on.
Yeah, we'll get back on track.
But first off, and I might have hammered this more than once on this episode or on this podcast. I know I've definitely hammered it online as an argument. Hamas didn't come out of a fucking vacuum.
No.
For years before the October 7th attacks, Netanyahu was actually actively encouraging people to fund Hamas. And the reason he was doing that is because Netanyahu didn't want Israel to have to deal with a unified Palestinian government. And the way to do that is to create or support different factions in the Palestinian government with infighting so that they can't unite and you have to deal with them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Hamas, which, is a terrorist organization, but remember that Netanyahu encouraged people to fucking fund.
Yep.
It wasn't until Hamas did the October 7th attacks that suddenly Netanyahu was like, okay, yeah, Hamas is evil. We need to take care of them.
Yeah.
Up until that point, he was actively encouraging people, yes, invest in Hamas. Hamas, it's like, send them money, send them. He was doing that. There is just video there. It is insane that he was doing that shit.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with this is the government and society of Israel is pretty fucking racist. And I'm not talking like racist like anti-Arab.
Right.
I'm talking racist like skin color, even within their Jewish communities. And now there's not legal segregation, but there is a lot of systemic societal segregation. If you have the white Jewish people who historically and ethnically came from Europe after World War II, oh, they are much more highly regarded than the Jewish people who, for all of their, past generations, you can track it down to, my family never moved out of Northern Africa or the Middle East. We are people who are technically, by your standards, colored. They're treated not necessarily like Palestinians, but they're treated as less than frequently.
Yeah.
So I bring this up because a lot of times you will see people or you will see like videos of Netanyahu. Yes, no, we're for equality for all. It's like bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
That society is just, it's a mess.
Yep. So to get back on track, I am enjoying that people are winning these primaries who are endorsed by Mamdani that are really against what's happening in Israel too.
Yeah, and the thing is, Mamdani has made a very strong point of he's not even against Israel. He's definitely not against Jewish people.
Right.
What he's against is any nation being a religious state that promotes that religion.
Right.
And it's like he thinks that Israel can be Israel. But Israel should not be promoting Jewish supremacy. Israel should not be doing this stuff that they're doing in Palestine.
Yeah, and no country should really be doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's come out and said, Israel, honestly, if they want to exist as a state, I think they should be able to. But, and then he gets on to this, like, they're pretty much, they're paradoxically a far-right nationalist organization, much like what many of those European Jews fled.
Yeah, weird.
So go figure. But let's get back to this.
Yes, let's do it.
We got some more primaries today. After all, it is Tuesday, and all of them could shake up Congress come November. In Maryland, the race to replace Steny Hoyer is underway. More than 20 Democratic candidates are competing to win that seat, which, by the way, has been held by Hoyer since 1981, before I was born. And for the first time since 2018, Utah will send a Democrat to Congress after court-ordered redistricting created a new left-leaning congressional seat in the state. Today's primary will determine who the Democrat representing Utah will be. But a lot of the eyes out there today are right here on New York City, where a generational and ideological battle is on display. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is backing progressive challengers to two sitting Democratic congressmen, both endorsed by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, as he hopes to take the reins as Speaker next year. You can see them, Espaillat and Dan Goldman. Joining us from the City Reporter, Senior Editor Harry Siegel and reporter Katie Honan, both are co-hosts of the podcast FAQ NYC. I'm so happy to have you both here today in person. It is a big test of Hakeem Jeffries. Is he more powerful in New York City right now than Zohran Mamdani, Katie?
No, I don't think so. I think we saw it last year when he was really reluctant to endorse Zohran Mamdani. It mattered nothing in last year's primary and then the general election. I think what you have is a very popular mayor who is really forcefully pushing his candidates and his agenda while he's riding this popularity.
Go ahead.
No, I think whether or not it'll be successful, I think people are putting too much stock perhaps in these primary races about his overall message. But I think this is a big test for whether he can replicate that message across the city in individual districts.
So I wonder, what are the differences between Adrian Espaillat and Dan Goldman and the two progressive challengers, or the two Democratic Socialist challengers that Zohran Mamdani has endorsed?
So there's a lot of crisscross going on here. Let's start out with Mayor Zohran Mamdani is pushing the congressional slate, and House of Representatives member, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is pushing very hard in the state races. And that's not accidental.
That sounds very New York.
Mamdani needs to have allies in Albany to get his agenda done. He actually ran on an agenda, a lot of which he has no ability to accomplish. He ran on high taxes, And he's like, Albany needs to hike taxes, not I'm going to hike taxes. So he's staying pretty clear of most of that arena.
So the state races, he's leaving to AOC.
Exactly. So and then there's this interesting switch where the federal representative is pushing the state races and the local executive is pressing Hakeem. And the idea very explicitly from Mamdani at this closing rally with Bernie Sanders, from the co-chairs of the New York City DSA, is that these people are fine. They're actually pretty good. They've been allies. That isn't good enough anymore. We need a more aggressive agenda. And strikingly, the co-chairs explicitly said in a podcast interview, this is to send a signal to the Democratic Party about the sort of presidential candidate they need in 2028.
But New York City is not the rest of the country, and New York City Democrats are not Democrats from around the country. It's a risky move.
Yeah, and I think for them, the payoff is worth it because they push really hard for these candidates. Like, let's say, for example, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, who's running against Adriano Espaillat in Manhattan and parts of the Bronx. If she loses tonight, it's not a prediction, but if she loses, she can run again. That momentum is still there. It's every 2 years
She can run on well, can't she run in the general on a DSA or a working
She would have
families
to have
ticket?
done, yeah, that's something she would have had to have prepped for previously, but these are young candidates and they are coming for the incumbents. I think there's a general dissatisfaction with incumbents, even if they are Democrats.
Here's the thing, when you're talking about Espaillat and you're talking about Dan Goldman, I mean, it's certainly for Dan Goldman, I live in his district, he had been extremely popular only a couple years ago in many parts of Brooklyn because he was heading Donald Trump impeachment investigations. So he had a lot of momentum. What happened?
I think in that district, it's, you have former Comptroller Brad Lander challenging him. A lot of people said, you're just looking for a job, why are you doing this? But I think for them, and I think for a lot of the people who don't support Goldman, it's an Israel issue. They're deep critics of Israel, and Goldman has not been as critical on Israel as other candidates. So for them, that is a main issue. And I think for a lot of people, it's just not enough. People say, okay, you led the impeachment, but Donald Trump is still president. We still have billions of dollars in U.S. money going over to Israel. You still have what people see as the U.S. involvement in what's happening in Gaza, and they don't think their Congress people are doing enough. So
just to bring back to Israel stuff, this is a lot of stuff where during the Biden administration, there was a lot of, okay, well, we can't be too critical of Israel because we're going to piss people off. Turns out by not being critical enough of Israel, you've pissed a lot of people off. It probably wasn't a good idea to kowtow to your lobbyists and your sugar daddies from Israel. And that's coming back to bite them in the ass. And the other thing here is they make a good point of, okay, but he went to impeach Trump. And I'm not even upset about the fact that it's like, oh, he went to impeach Trump, but nothing happened with it because that was a Republican majority. That was never going to happen. But at the same time, when it's never going to happen, you doing that, I mean, it's a gesture that we like to see, but at that point, it's an empty gesture because it's not going to go anywhere.
As we start getting further away from it, the whole Biden era, I start looking back with just fucking rage. Because it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna, Trump's not in office anymore. We're gonna go back to the status quo. We just want things how they used to be. Okay, well, I guess at the time maybe that felt good to go back to the status quo. But as I start, as the years start going by, I'm like, nope, bad idea. Because the status quo was already broken.
This is something where it's like, you go to the status quo to get away from what shit Gibbon did in his first term. And then once you're at the status quo, go further. And they didn't do that.
And they didn't do that because they just thought, oh, well, hey, Biden, won the election. So let's just go back to business as usual. And the problem is that Trump and the Republicans had already broken business as usual.
Well, business as usual had been broken long before that. They just made it insanely apparent.
They made it insanely apparent. But you're right. Like, no, they should not have done status quo. They should have been like, okay, we're going to fucking fix things. Because there was things that Trump did that I was sitting here going, okay, so we're going to, reverse that? No? What? You're what?
Yeah.
You're not. And then surprise, surprise, Trump gets elected again.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, we knew what we went through with Trump 1. So, I mean, how could it get any worse?
Well, the thing is, two reasons. One, people are fucking stupid.
Well, yes.
And there is this factor, this this mental issue, if you will, where people, if they are insanely committed to something, they will do mental gymnastics to remember shit differently.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like you will have people who, during the civil rights movements, they were some of the most racist, vile, we don't want no black children in our schools kind of people. And they were violent about it. But all these years later, a lot of those people remember it differently. It's like, yeah, no, I'm glad we did that. It was, I always was a closeted supporter of it. It's like, no, you fucking weren't.
We have pictures of you down on Main Street yelling at black children,
trying to throw bricks at people. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So I think that is also a little bit of a part of that. You have people who convince themselves, Trump's first term wasn't that bad. And I think what would have gone a long way to dissuading people of that persuasion would have literally been, okay, yeah, now we're back to the status quo, and we're going to make it better than it was before.
Yeah.
Because people didn't vote for Trump the first time because they wanted the status quo.
Right.
People voted for Trump the first time because he was a racist, bigoted shitheel, and he was good at poking that bear. But he also was good at saying, hey, this doesn't work, and we're going to fix it. Now, he didn't fix it.
No.
He fucking didn't. But if you have a repair guy who says he's going to fix something, even though it's like, he can't, or you have a repair guy who's been telling you that there's not really even a problem here, you're probably going to at some point go with the guy who says, okay, I'm at least acknowledging that there's a problem. And that's a lot of what happened with that orange dipshit.
Yeah.
So let's continue with this.
Okay.
We hear from voters. And just being a Democrat, I think in a lot of districts is not enough anymore. They want this shock of defeating an incumbent.
Harry?
Goldman was an accident. Goldman won because it's not ranked choice, and a whole bunch of progressives ran at the same time, and he spent a bunch of money. The district got reshaped after that. He was never the natural fit there. And so for Mamdani, who is very passionate about what's happening with Israel and Gaza and the Middle East and all this stuff, this is a chance to have somebody on his slate, notably his wife put out 2 endorsements today, left Goldman off, who helps further that movement when there's a sense of momentum there.
So how do the federal candidates help Mamdani? How did 2 congressional seats help Mamdani here in New York with all the priorities that he has?
I think they don't help him and his agenda as much as they help the DSA movement and this far left movement, which Harry said earlier. He needs the support of people in Albany. And I will say the mayor endorsed a total of 8 candidates, so there's 5 people running in the state races, state assembly and state senate here in New York and in New York City. They help him more in getting his free buses that he provided and getting a lot of these other things that the state require. But this is part of this broader movement of, like Harry said earlier, we're trying to signal to the Democratic Party that we don't want the same old candidates running for president.
It's a flywheel, and it's always about more campaigning and building momentum with an eye toward the presidential election. And so this helps him in saying, I wasn't a high watermark, and we'll see how this election turns out. Early voting wasn't very large. It appears that it was a lot older than when Mamdani was on the ballot himself last year. But if he can show more momentum, he has more to demand from the Democratic Party, from leaders in Albany, and I think he has his moral platform, and he's trying to add to it. I'll note with Chevalier very quickly, this is somebody who showed up to rally on October 8th, at a rally that the DSA had something to do with, but then backed away from. No elected showed up. She said very recently, right, and tweeted a bunch of pretty radical things, and then sort of continued them in interviews and elsewhere that, we need to abolish ICE, we should defund the police, we should seize private property, and so on. So to exactly what Katie's talking about, there's so much exhaustion and impatience with these centrists, with the Democrats who let Trump back in, that Mamdani's test and the DSA's test, whether she wins or loses, is can candidates who say things like that have some purchase, someplace, and even if they don't win, are we building political momentum that way is going into a presidential year?
Well, the defund of the police movement backfired for Democrats in 2020, or in 2024. It ended up what was it, 2022? I'm getting my races
Woke
mixed
one,
up.
as it's called, was
Woke
2020 when everyone
2020.
really,
Yeah, but I don't think that cost them shit because they were going for that. I mean, there was a huge issue with police being overfunded. And, it's like, look, if you pay a lot of money for cops, but you don't have other social support needs, you don't have things to help with mental health or other things. The only tool you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a fucking nail.
Yeah, and I think, back then, the whole defund police thing might have been, a little, I don't know about that to, some more, let's say, liberal people, because it's like, well, we do need cops and everything. But now with the whole fucking ICE thing and everything, I think that's changing a lot of minds where it's like, whoa, holy shit, what the fuck are they doing? No, we don't need that. Yeah. So I think it's starting to come back around to being like, maybe we do need to defund these people.
Well, what they need is, because they were wishy-washy before. What they need is they need to get clear messaging.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, along with a lot of other things, it's going to be a messaging war.
Yeah.
It's going to be who can promote the better message and who can control the message. Because that's one thing the Republicans, specifically Trump, has done a very good job of, frustratingly, is he's very good at manipulating the narrative to sow doubt.
Yeah.
You need to be able to counter that.
Right. And I think what we're seeing, in the last year, and going forward is our side starting to coalesce around a message. It might not be, democratic socialism is great. It might be, hey, people need housing.
Yeah.
People need a roof over their head. The rich have gone way too far. We need to rein them in. Okay? There's a lot of shit out here that would help us and get things back to, a good starting point if we did this shit. And to your point, Republicans are really good at saying, oh, it's socialism, boogeyman, and we need to find a way around that.
Yeah.
So that didn't help, but I wonder, because of Donald Trump getting back into office and the anger that you're talking about, I wonder if this is transforming the Democratic Party. And is it just transforming the Democratic Party for this next election? Or are we going to see a brand new party that has different platforms, different priorities, and is much more aggressive?
I think it will continue to transform it, or at least that's the intent of people who are organizing for it. We just heard earlier on the show, it's a national issue. Affordability. New York City is it is the most expensive city in the country, and even locally, you could pretty easily, like someone like Adriano Espaillat is, despite being the insurgent candidate when he first ran, is now seen as this elite and out-of-touch legislator who's not understanding the needs of the district. Of course, his supporters argue that he knows the district better than anyone else, but it's this constant battle for, and when it's this pendulum swinging of who we have in the White House and the decisions being made on a federal level from the White House, from the president down, and the inaction from the legislators who are in Congress and in D.C., there's going to be a constant push.
All politics are national now. Let me ask you about...
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to move it forward a little bit. Okay. We're already like a ways into this, and we're like a third of the way into the video.
Okay.
So let's get... I want to skip that interview.
Okay.
As I said, there's lots of video to go over, and we don't have too much time. Here we go. Let's back it up. There we go. And this is that initial interview that we saw at the very beginning.
Okay.
This is going to be that in a little bit more length.
Okay.
You've had a heck of a week. I mean, the election, the candidates you endorsed won down the line, and you knocked off 2 Democratic incumbent members of Congress. Is this like a unique moment in New York, or is this the beginning of a national movement?
I think we are seeing a hunger that is not just felt by New Yorkers, but frankly by Americans from coast to coast for a new kind of politics, one that puts working people at the heart of it. I think for far too long, what we as a party have been able to say to New Yorkers who are struggling is simply to explain why they're struggling, not actually offer them a vision for how to make life better. And these candidates, Brad, Daria Lisa, Claire, they ran campaigns that spoke to working people and that said life in the nation's most expensive city need not be this way any longer. And I can't wait to have them as partners in D.C. in that work.
Now, to keep in mind, it's a new kind of politics, but it isn't really. It's that we've had politicians do this before, and we definitely need to get back to that. But yeah,
I think it's a new kind of politics in the way that we're rejecting the status quo.
Yes.
These incumbents were, some of them, let's just say it, were Republican light.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like, and I think one of the things that happened to me that made me really start to chew on this is there was that thing in the budget in Congress. The Democrats were not going to sign it. And, it was like, okay, well, people are going to, be off their jobs. And the Dems were really like, well, okay, we want the health care. We want this. And they wouldn't sign it. And so the government shut down. Okay. All right. Cool. That's happened before. And I think what happened to me is that this went on for 2 weeks and I was really excited because I was like, okay, yeah, I know the government shut down. I know, it's going to be hard on people, but we do need healthcare in this country. We need this. This is something we need.
Yeah.
Fight for it. Fucking fight. Okay. And then people went across party lines.
They folded like some cheap origami.
They folded again.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this before. Time and fucking time again. The Democrats vaguely start to show a spine and then they fucking collapse.
Yeah.
And they just, okay, well, yeah, no, we need to work with these people. No, you fucking don't. And I think that was the moment when I heard the news. I think I was in, I don't know. I think I was in Starbucks or something. Like, I'm never in Starbucks. Like, I'm never there. But I think I was there with my sister or someone, and I just was on my phone, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was so angry. And I mean, I was kind of already on this, Democratic Socialist bandwagon to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think at that moment, it really solidified the fact that, okay, these Democrats they're not on my side.
No.
They are not for us. So if they're not on my side, fuck them. If they want to hide behind, abortion is health care and trans rights are human rights, great. But then don't fucking side with those fucking fascists on the other side. You're just hiding behind slogans. You're not really for that, then, are you?
No.
That's what pissed me off. And that's where I came to where I am today, where it's like, no, we're done with this. All of these news outlets that are going off on like, oh gosh, can you believe these insurgents that are in the Democratic Party? First off, fuck you for using the insurgent word. Also, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
These people do not represent us in a representative democracy. Fucking Fetterman, he's not a Democrat.
Oh, no.
Fuck that guy. I think there needs to be some sort of way to remove people from office when they are elected as your representative, as someone who will stand up to the current administration, and then they just become part of the administration.
Yeah.
That guy should be proverbially hanged and not allowed into politics anymore. Unless he wants to become a Republican, then fucking have at it.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy and fuck all these people that claim to be for us when they are really against us.
Agreed.
And that's why I support Mamdani.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself endorsing candidates outside of New York, or?
For now, my focus is on this incredible slate of 3 congressional candidates, as you said, the 5 candidates I endorsed who ran and won, who are all going to be heading to Albany in the state legislature. But I do think, as you said, it's not just New York City where working people are asking themselves, why can't I afford my rent? Why can't I afford my groceries? Why can't I find enough money in my pocket for childcare, no matter how hard I work? And I'm so excited that these incredible soon-to-be Congress members will be helping to lead the fight across the country on making sure that working people are right there where they should be, which is the heart of the conversation.
The reaction from Democrats has been something. You've had some prominent Democrats dismissive of what happened here. I mean, you had Senator Blumenthal say, the effort to nationalize New York is going to fail. What happened in New York will be really irrelevant by the time of the elections in November.
Out of
Hakeem
touch.
Jeffries basically said the same thing, saying that this is not indicative of what needs to happen in November. What do you make of that?
You know, I think that when you ask Americans what they're feeling in this moment, amidst reports of an economy that's strengthening, of a stock market that's booming, you will hear an exhaustion at having to try and make ends meet every single day, every single week, every single month, and that it's getting harder and harder. And so a message of fighting for working people, we don't have to nationalize that message. That is a national message. It's a national crisis. And for far too long, all we've had to say as a party is opposition to the current administration. What do we have to say beyond that? And what these candidates offer is a vision that extends beyond the midterms, it extends beyond 2028. It speaks to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats. It speaks to a vision that goes back to a New Deal understanding of what working people deserve. And I'll tell you that for too long, that kind of politics, you can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the present day.
And so, you will definitely have people who will listen to this and go, well, it was the Republicans who did the New Deal shit. Yes, it was. Hold on, wait for it. Progressive Republicans. Not conservative Republicans.
Right.
Progressive Republicans. So, what he's talking about, though, is we need to get back to those progressive values.
Right.
And right now, those progressive values, they're not entirely there yet, but they're most strongly present in the Democratic Party.
Right. And I think that he's absolutely right. It is a national issue. This isn't just a New York thing. This isn't just, these socialists in New York just, voted for this guy and everything. No. People can't. We've explained it here on this pod for fucking 3 years now. Almost. Yeah. Like, it's fucking hard out there. We need people to fight for us. And people like Blumenthal, those are the kind of people that are just like, no, hey, man, no, we just need to get back to status quo because I'm rich and nothing matters to me. I don't care. That's how I view it. That's what I think. It's like when I hear that, it's like you're rich. You've been in Congress for how fucking long?
Yeah.
Have you talked to people? No, you just want to go back to the status quo of like, oh, well, hey, look, man, the stock market's really booming. I don't fucking have stock. Okay? I mean, I got a 401k, but if the stock market tanks, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
People don't. That's the rich who are constantly getting richer. The stock market is not the fucking economy.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And so fuck these Dems who are just like, oh, well, no, we really don't need this. No, you know what you need to do? You need to get on the fucking other side of the aisle and get out of my fucking party because you don't represent me.
That's true.
And you're hearing some not just dismissive, though. There's resentment. And this is from fellow Democrats who think that this could jeopardize Democratic chances in the fall. I mean, you've got Josh Gottheimer, a Democratic member of Congress, says, many of us believe, as do I, if you're a socialist, you are not a Democrat. In fact, they put out a manifesto today. Have you seen this thing?
Sounds pretty socialist to me.
It's not a communist manifesto. It's a moderate manifesto saying, we are capitalist, not socialist. We believe in a growing, fair, and competitive economy, entrepreneurship, ownership. I mean, this is a direct response. They've made it clear to what you did here on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, that's great, but what's a party if not its voters? And I'm proud to sit in front of you as the mayor of our city, having received more than 1 million votes, a little less than a year ago. And when we're talking about these incredible congressional candidates, they won their races, and they won their races with a vision of what politics should be, and one that actually speaks to working people. And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But in terms of what it means over these last 7 months, we've seen a city with democratic socialist principles at the heart of it within our administration. And what we've delivered has been record lows when it comes to murders and shootings.
So is it pragmatic democratic socialism?
I think democratic socialism at the heart is pragmatic, because if we cannot deliver for working people, then what is this for? I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or, frankly, in reading one. I'm interested in delivering, and that's exactly what we've been showing.
But they're saying that if you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. I mean, is there room in the party for both of these views?
Yes, here I am. Here are so many more. And I think what makes our party a beautiful party is the fact that it's a big tent, that we have
But you've also said it has to be a party with a spine, with a backbone.
Yes.
Yes.
Even a tent has to stay up.
Yes.
So, you know, does it have to stand firmly for these ideas that you're talking about that others are calling dangerous?
I think it has to stand for working people. And I think it has to be willing to fight for working people. And I think that there are some who are offended by the prospect of a party that knows who it fights for and goes every day to work for that. Because what we've seen over many years is a willingness to not only explain away the status quo, but frankly even to look to benefit from the status quo. And that's not what working people are looking for.
That's what I was talking about.
As
Exactly.
New Yorkers were going to vote, you said something interesting. You said the race for 2028 starts now, the presidential race. What did you mean by that?
Well, a lot of pundits ask me about this race and what it means and how to think about it. And at the core of Tuesday's results was a message from Democratic voters across the largest city in the United States of America about the kind of politics they want to see. And we know that we oppose the cruelty of the federal administration. What is it that we stand for beyond that?
So you can't just be anti-Trump,
Can't.
obviously.
You got to have something you are not just willing to stand up for, but that you're also willing to explain how this is relevant to working people. And I think this just comes back to the fact that I'm leading a city that's the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. I could end the sentence there and say that life is great for 8.5 million people, but it's also a city where 1 in 4 are living in poverty. And for far too many Americans, those contradictions have become their day-to-day life. And we need a party that's able to recognize the strengths of this economy and understand that it hasn't reached enough people.
Now, you know, there's been a lot of attention. One of the candidates you supported, who knocked off an incumbent Democrat, is Darlisa Villa-Chalier. She said some very controversial things, including calling for the abolition of prisons, couldn't say whether or not somebody who had committed murder should be in prison, called for open borders against all deportations, including those of violent criminals. Are those positions that the Democratic Party could win on nationally?
I think what the Democratic Party can win on nationally is a focus on working people. And I think that what I saw from Darlisa when I would walk the streets of her district was a focus on what she describes as a politics of life. She would talk about how we have to invest in babies, not bombs. She's now going to represent what is one of the poorest districts in the United States of America. And what people in that district are exhausted by is a politics that has justified the spending of tens of billions of dollars in killing civilians overseas, while working people are struggling just to do the basics.
But how does abolishing prisons or having open borders fit into that? I mean, do you see how those are ideas that a lot of your Democrats that are warning about what happened here say are toxic? Most of America won't go along with it. Are bad ideas. They're dangerous ideas.
I think what the focus of her race was, what the focus of her candidacy was about the struggle that working people are facing. And I think that we can have disagreements on policy positions. What we have to agree on is what are we fighting for and who are we fighting for? She showed that in her race, and I think that many people will come to appreciate that in her leadership to come.
So we can disagree on something as basic as whether or not there should be prisons?
That's
not your position.
There are prisons,
yes.
And what we're also showing in this city is that safety is not something that's up for debate. It's something that we're actually delivering on. And I'm proud to be the mayor of a city that currently has the lowest recorded number of murders and shootings in recorded history in New York City.
So there was also a take, it's not just Democrats, you've probably heard what President Trump had to say about you and about the candidates you supported, and he warned that if socialists,
like a pig's asshole.
and he calls you communists, but you will start living in squalor, there'll be no food, no housing, no military, no law and order, there'll be nothing.
Sorry, like the first two things, there's like there'll be squalor and homeless. Is like, but we already have that.
We already have that.
So
it's already here. You guys fucking complain about it every fucking day.
Yeah, and it's guess who didn't cause it?
Yeah.
Mamdani.
And he had a few other choice words. By the way, he also said he still likes you.
Yeah, weird. Well, that's what dementia patients do.
What do you make of what he? I mean, the Republicans are going to make you the poster child for the Democratic Party.
Let them.
Yeah.
We don't have to ask ourselves what life looks like if a socialist wins. I won last November, and over the course of these last 6 months, what we've delivered for working people are the very things we were told were impossible. We've delivered free childcare for 2-year-olds for the first time in New York City history. We've delivered tens of millions of dollars back to tenants who were taken advantage of by bad landlords. We've delivered 165,000 potholes being paved. And we've done all of these things while also delivering the lowest recorded crime in our city's history. That's what it looks like to have democratic socialism. And what you're seeing is that New Yorkers experienced this for 6 months and made the decision that they wanted to see more of it on the national stage as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, he said, he delivered.
Yeah.
People like that.
Yes. And people like it when you fucking fight.
Yeah.
That's what we want. And yeah, you know, I want to bring up what he said about Trump. It's like, yeah, you know, fuck that guy. But guess what? We got to look to the future, you know? Fuck him and let's fucking fight. Yeah. Let's fucking fight for what we fucking believe in. Okay? Because these fucks don't have your best interest at heart. If we do what we say we're going to do and we help out the people, guess what? Things are going to get fucking better around here.
And people will vote
and
for
people
us.
will vote for us when they see that it actually fucking works.
Yep.
Democratic socialists get elected president?
I think a democratic socialist can get elected anywhere across this country for any position. What I think we need to bring is a focus on working people.
And that's the direction that the party should go in terms of selecting a candidate.
Yeah.
I think the direction that the party should go in is how best to fight for working people. I think we need to have a platform and a vision that doesn't sound as if it was cooked up by consultants, but instead one that you would say in response to someone who's asking, why can't I afford my rent? Why can't I afford my groceries? Why can't I afford my childcare? We need to make clear who we stand for, how we're going to stand for them, and that we're actually willing to fight for them when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
Obviously, Israel was a big issue in these races. Not the only issue, but a big issue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is there room in the Democratic Party for candidates, officials who support Israel, not just support Israel, but support military aid for Israel? This was a huge issue for you.
Well, I think what we've seen is that the time for us as elected officials to pronounce what the party should be is one that should come to an end, and we should let Democratic voters themselves take the lead. And we've seen on Tuesday evening, we saw Democrats turn out in districts across the city to make clear that they were tired of tens of billions of dollars being spent in our taxpayer dollars to violate international law, to kill thousands of civilians. And you and I know that right now, the way that Palestine is described is as if there is a ceasefire. That's the language that's typically used. Yeah. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in that ceasefire. And what New Yorkers want to see is a politics of conscience, a politics of clarity, a politics of conviction. And to follow international law, to believe in the humanity of all people, it shouldn't be a journey too far. And I think that our party needs to hear what Democrats are telling it.
Democratic Socialists of America now says they no longer favor a two-state solution. Is that the way you see it as well? The idea of two states, Palestinian, Jewish state, side by side, living in peace?
The way I see it is equal rights for all people. And I think that that's the truth for Israel. It's the truth for any country in the world. And frankly, as we're coming up close to the 250th anniversary of our nation, one of the things that makes me proudest to be an American is the belief that equal rights are at the bedrock of our notion of what it means to be an American.
And the idea of a Jewish state, Israel is a Jewish state, that's in the charter. That's the way it is now. Do you support that?
I've said time and again that I support the state of Israel as a state with equal rights. I believe that any state that preferences...
But as a Jewish state is the question.
I think any state that privileges one religion over the other is one that I can't tell you I support, whether it be Israel or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else. And a lot of that comes back to a fundamental belief that we should all be considered equal no matter what our faith is.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, basic common sense shit.
Yes. And, you know, when we're God, I know we've talked about taxes so much, but I've brought it up time and time again where it's like, okay, well, if you're taxing us, then I want to see it work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see my tax dollars going to support a genocide, what I believe is a genocide.
Yeah.
I don't want my tax dollars to bomb a girls' school in Iran, accident or not. No, the whole Iran situation didn't need to happen.
Well, it did in order to prevent us from releasing the Epstein files.
Oh, well, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, but democratic socialism to me is, you collect taxes, the rich pay their fair share, and you build your community. You're not taking things away from, you always hear that. It's like, oh, well, they're just going to take everything, and we're just going to be told. No, you're fucking not. That's people trying to scare you. Okay. What it is helping out everybody. It's like he said, equal society. Everybody's equal. Okay. You can still be rich. You can still have a business. You can still do that. Guess what? If you want to buy a fucking Ferrari, go buy a fucking Ferrari. Go hog wild. Yeah. Like whatever, as long as there's no one in the streets, everybody is being helped. And that also means that, if we're giving foreign aid, that doesn't go to people who just want to hate on other people.
Yeah. That
doesn't go to just, well, I feel like we need to totally obliterate Iran for fucking reasons. No. Help out your country first before you start, I think what needs to happen, and again, this is just, Brian LLC here. I think what needs to happen is we don't need to become isolationist because, that's already passed. But I think we do need to rein in a little, and we should really focus on ourselves again and make, just like I say that we make sure the lowest of us is taken care of. We need to make sure we're taken care of before, we start really throwing money around again.
I will slightly argue with you.
Go
on
ahead.
This. So there are certain things that I think, we do need to focus on fixing our own shit. Mm-hmm. Absolutely do.
Yeah.
But for lack of a better idiom, we can chew gum and walk at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
And one thing we had, and it did cost money, but it didn't cost nearly as much money as bombing the fuck out of Iran. USA aid.
Yes.
That was an instrumental policy, and not just helping those impoverished around the world. Mm-hmm. It was also great for American security.
Yeah.
And it was a lot cheaper than bombing the fuck out of Iran. And the reason why it was great wasn't just that it was cost effective in terms of, it costs less than bombing the fuck out of Iran for each year. And we're, helping people who are impoverished, who are starving, all this. What it also did was it encouraged or solidified. It solidified our national security on many fronts, because if you are helping another country that is dealing with disease, hunger, shelter issues, all these fun things, and you are making it so that, those who are impoverished, those who are malnourished, those who do not have, housing and stuff, you're making it so that their lives aren't as miserable. So that they can live healthier lives, better lives.
Yeah.
And you're making it where it's and by the way, this aid is brought to you by the United States of America. You know what they don't want to do if they get pissed? They don't want to bomb the fuck out of the United States of America, because oddly enough, we might be the cause of some of their problems, but we're actually providing assistance too.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah. Maybe what I'm thinking about is just the countries that were hey, here's weapons.
Oh, yes. Agreed.
Here's $1 billion so you can just fucking mow people down.
Yeah.
Yes, I would be on board with doing USAID again. I would be on board with a lot of humanitarian stuff.
Yeah. And there are some places where it's I think, honestly, the United States, we should be doing more militarily to support Ukraine, for example.
Yeah.
We talked in part with Russia, China, other countries, we talked Ukraine into disarming their nuclear armaments that they had left over from the Cold War eras. And we did that with the promise that, hey, look, if Russia or other people, or mostly Russia, ever decides, no, fuck Ukraine, we want them back in our Soviet Union, we will provide military support to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we just want to disarm nuclear because we don't want Dr. Love Strange happening.
Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. God damn. I love that movie. And yeah, it's getting hot in here.
Oh, God.
But there was this promise that we would help them. And then Russia invaded, and we provided two things: jack and shit.
Yeah, we could have done more. We should have done more.
We could have and should have.
Yeah.
In that regards, yeah, because they were the ones who were invaded, as opposed to Israel, who did the invading. But let's continue with this stuff.
How big a problem, you said it's rising, is anti-Semitism in this city?
We've seen anti-Semitism rise in this city. We've seen the fact that Jewish New Yorkers comprise a minority of our city's population and yet continue to constitute a majority of the hate crimes that have been purveyed in this city. And that's something that's unacceptable. It's something that we will never come to see as if it is a part of life. It's something that has to be fought and rooted out of every one of the 5 boroughs.
Something I just want to talk about this real quick. Again, I'm an idiot. I love arguing with people online. It's great.
Okay.
Somebody, largely they will argue in memes, and some dipshit posted this meme where it's a picture of Mamdani, and it's all AI bullshit with like a swastika in the background. And it says in there, you know, under Mamdani, Jewish hate crimes have gone up 182%. Hooray. Got into an argument with it's like, okay, source for this. And some dipshit posted sources where it's like, okay, New York Post is a rag. That is a pro-Israel lobby where they cry foul for anything that they can ever do. And that one is another right-wing radio talk show propaganda host rag. And this one, it's like, you just don't like sources. Like, no, it's not that. The problem is your original meme takes us out of context. The 182% increase is for the month compared to last year before Mamdani was mayor.
Yeah.
And if you look at actually since Mamdani was mayor, because we're talking like first month of the year, like right after he got in office, from December before he was elected to that time, there was a decrease. So again, anti-Semitism is a huge thing in New York. Mamdani has actually been outspoken against it. He has worked, and you know what? It's gone down.
Yeah.
So this whole thing of like, it went up under Mamdani, it's like, compared to last year where we're talking 11 fucking months, he wasn't the goddamn mayor. Yeah, no shit, it went up. Oh no.
Oh no.
I think when Dan Goldman did that coffee shop in Brooklyn said that they wouldn't serve him because of his support for Israel.
Good.
You have a problem with, the idea of, of a establishment like that saying they're not going to serve somebody if they support Israel.
I've said that I have political disagreements with Congressmember Goldman. I do believe that that's a response that goes beyond that.
So that's not the right kind of thing.
No, I think it's much better to keep that critique in the way that we've done it.
Okay, so we're just about out of time. I got to ask you.
He's a more graceful person than I am.
You're turning 35.
Because I would bring up, somebody not wanting to bake a cake for some people. That was okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was okay for any Democrats, but at the same time, it's like,
you were not born here.
Yes.
The hell.
But do you think that's something that should be changed in the Constitution? It would take an amendment, but...
Oh, yeah, no. But, so we were talking through this. Basically, he's asking Mamdani, it's like, hey, it would take a change in the Constitution, but do you think that you'd like to run for president someday?
do you think that we should change that?
No.
No?
I think the Constitution looks good the way it is.
Just the way it is.
Just the way it is. I'm very excited to focus on New York City, but thank you for reminding me of my upcoming
35
mortality.
years old. 35 years old. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well,
I am a little bit pissed that Mamdani is, like 8 years younger than us. So
that's crazy.
It's nuts. But again, like I also like that they bring it up. It's like, would you want to run for president? And immediately, like, no. And it's like, it's part of the Constitution. I can't. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Do we want to go a little bit further?
How much further do you want to go?
There's one more thing to cover. It's like 12-ish minutes long.
A video.
If
you got the time.
Okay. Let's take a look at this. You might hate this.
Oh, great. Come on. Thought we were doing stuff that we love.
Democrats have candidates winning primaries and rising through the ranks. Freedom is not passed along in the bloodstream.
What?
It's got to be fought for. And these are the times that Reagan was warning about. He was warning about communism overseas. Now,
So FYI,
Good God.
this is going to be some shit from Fox.
Man,
The reason I'm covering this,
why?
this I think is a great example of Republicans are scared shitless of Mamdani too.
Okay.
And so right now we have Johnson, the guy who openly announced that both him and his son use the same porn tracking app to keep each other honest about not watching porn. That guy is
Oh, God.
talking about Democrats are going more socialist.
Uh-huh.
it is on our own shores.
And then I'll get to like Fox and
It's
Friends
a
or
very
something.
serious time, and every American needs to wake up and understand a threat. You've been hearing me say for weeks there are many Mamdanis popping up all around the country. It is a dangerous thing.
many
This is not a
Mamdanis.
joke. We're in a fight right now to save the republic, and every American needs to take this seriously.
We are the Republic.
Womp womp.
You heard it. Socialism not just knocking on the Democratic Party's door, it may be taking the keys.
Ooh,
Welcome
booga,
to
booga,
the Big
booga.
Money Show. I'm
Yep.
Taylor Riggs, along with my co-host Lauren
Oh, that's right. It's
Simonetti,
not
Brian
Fox and
Brandenburg,
Friends.
Jackie DeAngelis.
Yeah,
and
it's
with
Fox
us for
Business.
The hour,
Yeah,
the entire
whoop-de-doo.
hour. Making Money host Charles Payne.
Making
Nice to
money.
see you.
Huh.
Wear your communism red tie.
Chocolate red in our flag, isn't there?
Just kidding.
That's right, Charles.
Okay, I'm getting signals. I might actually not have time for this. So,
Okay.
sorry. We're just going to cut that one off because, again, we know that Republicans hate that shit.
Okay.
Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
do you have anything to touch on as we close out on this episode?
I am excited. I don't know. Maybe excited is not the right word. I'm curiously optimistic
Okay.
about the short-term future. I really hope that this is, the wake-up call that a lot of these Dems need. I'm on board with Mamdani. I'm on board with democratic socialism. I wouldn't have changed my party affiliation if I wasn't. And I totally agree with what he said, where, this isn't about, democratic socialism. This is about working people. This is about making sure people have their basic needs met. We are the richest country in the fucking universe, as far as we know.
And we have some insanely ugly wealth disproportion.
Exactly. And that doesn't need to happen. That is a choice that people have made, that have told other people to hate on people, even though their financial situation hasn't changed. Look at the people out in Cave Junction that have their dilapidated house, that have had their Trump sign in their front yard for over 10 years. They're still living in that dilapidated house. They're still just barely hanging on. And yet the people in charge are telling them, no, socialism, scary, booga booga. And I want to help those people. I want to give those people a leg up.
You are a better person than I, only because I do feel like choices to an extent have consequences. And
yes,
I do agree.
Yeah.
They need to be lifted up too. But me being a petty little socialist bitch, I am also kind of the mindset of like, look, to an extent they made their choices and they're going to bitch, piss, and moan about them having this, even though they really want it. Because, all those people, Obamacare bad, but I want to keep my AC
right.
Same fucking thing.
I'm trying to look at this from like an equal perspective, like I think everybody should be taken care of in the richest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they want to choose to fight against me, fine, fuck them. That's their own problem. But on a base level, I think everybody needs to be helped. And if we have the money, we need to help people. And that's what I want going forward. And I am very happy to see that those candidates that he backed all won.
And general election.
And now we're on to the general election. And there's been a few other elections across the country, primaries, that have given me hope too. You know, there's now going to be a Democrat in Utah.
Yeah.
You know, surprise, surprise.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. You know, there are places around the country where, you know, it doesn't sound as scary anymore, or at least the message isn't scary. And people have had to deal with fucking Republican messaging and Republican action for the last 40 years. And look, it hasn't worked. So what's going to work? Let's fucking help people out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very much agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to our podcast. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please be sure to email them to maltliquorsocialists@gmail.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and on YouTube. And please check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
Again, we're not saying you have to sign up for like any paid thing. That's fine. But check it out. You can become a free member, and it just, you know, it's another way to access the episodes.
Yep.
And if you want to throw a couple shekels our way, yeah, I'm not going to argue. You know, it's like those tiers are there for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Good, sir.
Shout out to the 5 boroughs.
Woot woot.
I know who you are. I know who a lot of these people are. They don't even know me. I'd be embarrassed if I were you. The misinformation machine is rapid. It puzzles me.